Donald Trump didn't mean to fix America. He just wanted to win. But then AI handed him something no president had ever touched: a way to unite both Democrats and Republicans, not through compromise, but through chaos-calibrated cooperation. It was messy, it was unintended, and somehow it worked. If you're into smart solutions that challenge the status quo, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We can't change the system without you. America for years has been split not just down party lines, but emotional trenches. Thanksgiving dinners turned into Cold Wars. School boards became war zones. Every debate, every bill, every tweet became a battle cry. Then came the 2028 election. Trump, resurrected politically, was back on the stage. But this time, something was different. He wasn't just shouting slogans or feuding with the media. He unveiled something strange: a tool, an AI-powered platform he claimed could solve bipartisan gridlock. People laughed. Then they watched. The AI, dubbed Unity, wasn't designed to appease anyone. It was designed to force action. And action it got. It analyzed bills in real time, flagged political hypocrisy with timestamps and receipts, and even ran simulations showing the public how every policy would actually affect them. Not just in numbers, but in relatable human terms. Want to vote against healthcare reform? Unity would show a real-life story of a family in your district who would suffer. Want to greenlight corporate loopholes? Unity would stream how many veterans would lose benefits because of it. Republicans hated it. Democrats feared it. But the public? They were glued to it. And just as the public began tuning in, something unexpected happened. People stopped asking who was red or blue and started asking, what does Unity say? Local news segments adopted Unity dashboards. Churches streamed AI transparency feeds. Even late-night hosts stopped making jokes about politicians and started grilling them using Unity data. The culture began to shift. Accountability became cool. Now here's the irony. The very people who claimed to fight for truth and transparency couldn't handle it. Elon Musk had a hand in developing Unity's core logic framework, a transparency engine originally meant for Mars colony governance. It wasn't built for diplomacy. It was built to prevent collapse when oxygen was limited and egos were high. Musk released it open source, thinking no one would dare use it on Earth. Trump did. Susan Sarandon, meanwhile, had spent years on the activist circuit screaming into the void about political corruption and media theater. Unity, to her, was poetic justice. Finally, a machine that didn't play favorites. Finally, a reckoning. But Unity wasn't polite. It didn't care if your name was Trump, Pelosi, AOC, or DeSantis. It exposed campaign donations, hidden lobbyist ties, flip-flop voting records, and contradictions in speeches. In 4K, in real time. Congress hated being watched. Voters loved watching. Unity turned C-SPAN into the Super Bowl. And yet, that didn't solve the problem. The problem was addiction, not to power, but to outrage. Bipartisanship died because no one could fundraise on cooperation. Unity made deals visible, but it couldn't make them profitable, until it did. Suddenly, political consultants were scrambling. Old tactics stopped working. Smear campaigns backfired when Unity fact-checked them live. Voters began rewarding humility and honesty. Pollsters were stunned. Behind closed doors, lobbyists began to panic. Unity didn't just show who donated. It showed who called, who met and when. Time-stamped, verified, public. Phase 1, 0 to 6 months. Unity went from being a toy of Trump's re-election campaign to a mandatory government integration. Musk, uneasy but intrigued, agreed to serve as a public steward, not a controller. Sarandon signed on to form the People's Council, a watchdog group that ensured Unity never became Skynet. The first targets were infrastructure, veterans care, and pharmaceutical pricing. The AI made one simple change. If a policy passed with bipartisan support, it triggered instant nationwide media credits, free ad airtime, and digital distribution for every rep who voted yes. In other words, Unity gamified Unity. Phase 2, 6 to 18 months. States began integrating Unity into local governance. Mayors and governors opted in. Constituents could query how budgets were being used. and AI-generated summaries replaced 500-page PDFs. Suddenly, citizens weren't just voters. They were watchdogs with tools. Lobbyists started retiring. PACS began to shift from manipulation to negotiation. Teachers began using Unity in civics classes. Students simulated legislation, debated outcomes, and saw real-world consequences. Political literacy skyrocketed. Universities began offering Unity certification programs for civic engagement. Phase 3, 2 to 5 years. With national pressure mounting, a new class of politicians emerged. People who weren't running to be famous, but to be useful. Unity began proposing legislation based on aggregated citizen input and real-time data. It wasn't law, it was suggestion. But it worked. The old guard couldn't fight the optics. How do you campaign against something that just built clean water systems in Flint and rural Mississippi in under 8 months? Trump took credit. Musk stayed cryptic. Sarandon smiled quietly and told every podcast host, "I told you it was never about sides." Of course, there was backlash. Accusations flew. Was Unity rigged? Was it biased? Conservatives accused it of leftist leanings. Liberals feared it would normalize authoritarianism. When the AI flagged false claims from both Trump and Bernie Sanders in the same week, both camps cried foul. Then came the deepfake crisis. Bad actors began generating fake Unity reports, videos mimicking its voice, fake transparency, real chaos. Unity had to adapt. It launched a verification protocol using blockchain-anchored receipts for every output. Still, trust was fragile. The AI, brilliant as it was, couldn't repair centuries of political trauma overnight. That's when the human part mattered. Trump, bizarrely, gave a speech where he admitted Unity had caught him in a lie. It was a good lie, he joked, but a lie nonetheless. Musk reposted it with a single word: progress. Sarandon followed with a TED Talk titled, "Let the Machines Make Us Honest." Slowly, the country began treating Unity less like a god and more like a mirror. In time, Unity added a feature called the bridge. It paired citizens from opposing views to collaborate on mock legislation, showing them where their values actually aligned. Turns out, most people wanted the same things, just in different language. So here we are. An president, a tech mogul, and an actress-turned-activist somehow helped usher in an era where Democrats and Republicans don't hold hands, but they do hold receipts. Unity doesn't care who you vote for. It cares whether you tell the truth, whether your policy helps people, and whether you're willing to be seen. This isn't utopia. It's not AI overlordship. It's just a better way to argue. And maybe, in a country built on the idea that disagreement is a feature, not a flaw, that's the best we can do. So, would you live in this world? If this vision makes sense to you, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We're building something smarter, together.